everybody, welcome back to Pagan's Witchy Corner. My name is Pagan, and today I'm joined by a familiar friend who has already been on the show one time before for his beautiful book, which was The Secrets of Greek Mysticism. It took me a minute to remember the title because it's been a minute, but now he is here for a brand new wonderful book, and that is The Ancient Manifestation Secrets, which is this lovely book right here that you all can see, and it is fantastic. It talks all about the wonderful ways to use the universe to manifest kind of everything that we need to do and how to get your life in order. So, George, welcome back to the show. I'm so happy you're here.
Hi, Pagan. Thank you so much for having me back.
So, how have you been? How is life going?
Oh God, busy as usual. You know me, I can never stop. How about you?
Life has been chaotically busy, but in a good way. I took some time off, obviously, to try to move, but that didn't work out because of, wonderful issues with the city. But beyond that, it's been really wonderful coming back after that really great break, which I didn't realize I actually needed so badly until I took it. I have gone full swing back into things, and it's been absolutely wonderful. And I'm happy to be here. So it's been wonderful.
Likewise, yes.
So you wrote this beautiful book. We talked about it a little bit last year, but this book was kind of still in the works. We hadn't really gotten out to like fully launch yet last time we talked, and it came out, I believe, in January of this year.
It came out in November. Yes.
November.
So
Okay.
around the end of the year. Yes.
Okay. That whole time period is a blur for me, so excuse my misdates.
Same
um,
here. Same here. I was telling you before, I launched 2 books in the same year, and it was like so busy, but it's all good.
Yes. And so this beautiful book, it talks all about the manifestation with the universe. So obviously, where did this book kind of come into being?
Yeah, so this book is actually a sequel, kind of, to Secrets of Greek Mysticism. Actually, if my book, Secrets of Greek Mysticism and Protect Your Light, had a baby, it would be this book
Love
because it's
it.
the next step. It still draws from like ancient teachings, specifically ancient Greece and ancient Egypt, the philosophical school of Hermeticism, and then it combines it with energy work. So I teach people how to manifest with their energy field.
I love that so much. And this book deals a lot with the law of attraction, which is supposed to be one of the biggest laws in the universe. Is that correct?
It is. And actually, a claim that I make in the book is that the law of attraction is not the most powerful law in the universe. Like when you look at popular manifestation culture, it's all about the law of attraction. They're obsessed with the law of attraction. And I was
Yes.
too as well. Like when I go back to my first book, Be the Guru, I have a chapter called The Most Powerful Law in the Universe. And I talk about the law of attraction. And here I am years later, like taking that back and rewriting the whole story and saying it's not the most powerful law in the universe. We'll live to learn. But what I learned essentially is that there are so many powerful laws in the universe, and no law is more powerful than the other. They all work in collaboration with one another. And that's why manifestation is a collaborative process. So in the book, I talk about the hermetic laws of the universe, the manifestation laws of
Mhm.
the universe, that are the 7 laws of the universe that we know from the book, The Kybalion, which are
Mhm.
the law of mentalism, the law of correspondence, vibration, or law of attraction, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. And I introduce a more complex but not complicated way of working with all of the laws to manifest our desires.
I love that so much. And it's true. The law of attraction is one of those ones that really does get a lot of, I guess you could say, airtime because it's popular and it's
Yeah.
really that one thing that everyone's like, oh, just, embrace the law of attraction. You'll get everything you want, especially in your love life, which obviously we talk about. So let's kind of start kind of getting into some of those different 7 laws that you refer to and kind of how they break down into manifestation.
Yes, so let's go through them briefly. So the
Mhm.
first one is the law of mentalism that teaches that the all is mind, the universe is mental. It's the idea that to create anything, we need to start with a thought or an intention. And that's why the universe is mental, because it's created with a mental thought. So that is the first step, first law. We need to focus our intention on what we want and pour energy towards that. The
Mhm.
second law is the law of correspondence, teaching that as above, so below, as below, so above. Essentially, there are different dimensions, different planes of existence, and there are different spirit guides and entities living in different planes of existence. Because the law of correspondence says that there is correspondence between them, that means that we can receive help essentially for different realms. That's why we can receive help from our spirit guides, from ancestors, from angels and gods and goddesses, because the same laws work across all different realms. When it comes to the third law, the law of vibration, popularized as the law of attraction, it teaches that nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. It's the idea we are all familiar with, that everything is made out of vibration. And when we match our vibrational frequency to the vibrational frequency of our desire, we can draw it, we can magnetize it into our lives because we become a vibrational match to it. The fourth law is a law of polarity, teaching that everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. The law of polarity essentially teaches that anything we experience and any emotion we feel is on a scale. And this scale has two poles, two ends of a stick, essentially. And wherever we are on that scale, we can access any point on the scale. We can access either pole. And therefore, if we are, let's say, for example, feeling depressed, we have access to joy. And that's an empowering statement to realize that we're on the same scale as joy. And it's just a matter of moving up that emotional scale. And the poles, the two extremes, they're infinite, they're liminal, they're never ending. There is no happiest and there is no saddest. There's an infinite growth to them, which shows that there is no limit to what we can manifest. We can keep on manifesting more and more and more of the same thing. And then we go, yes, tell me.
I was gonna say, I absolutely love that that's the case with that, because when it comes to the different, vibrational poles that you were referring to just now, it's one of those things where you really don't fully comprehend it until you start looking at it, even from as simple as mathematics, because we see that a lot in mathematics, and it's that wonderful liminality between the two. And oh, I'm sorry, I'm fangirling over here, like as you're talking, so I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So please continue.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's one of my favorite laws, the law of polarity, and it's very connected to the next law, the fifth one, the law of rhythm, that says that everything flows out and in, everything has its tides, all things rise and fall. The easiest way to understand the law of rhythm is you have this pendulum and the scale we talked about, and the pendulum is going from one end to the other end, but it's never going all the way. And it goes at different rates and different rhythms, okay? But there is a rhythm to life, a rise and a fall. We go through spring, and then we go through summer, and then we go through winter and autumn. So everything in nature goes through this rhythm. Our economy goes through a boom, and then it goes through a recession. We go through ice ages, we go through more warmer times in the planet. Same thing with our emotions and our manifestations. We go through periods where we're feeling low and periods when we're feeling high. And then we go into the law of cause and effect, teaching that every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause. Now, what most people don't realize is that there are many causes leading to the manifestation of something, to the effect of something. Popular manifestation teachings say that the only cause is our own vibrational frequency, our thoughts and our emotions. But there are other causes as well. We have karmic contracts, relationship contracts, collective intentionality. We have our life purpose, our soul's purpose that's fulfilled over several lifetimes. We cannot ignore all of these different factors because they're also like contributing to manifestation. And it's my favorite law to talk about, actually, the cause and effect. And then the final one is the law of gender, teaching that gender is in everything. Everything has its tides, masculine and feminine principles. So the law of gender has nothing to do with biological or social gender. It has to do with energy, masculine energy and feminine energy, more structure energy and then more fluid energy. And when you look at creation, when you think at how atoms are created, they are made out of a positive and a negative ion, essentially masculine and negative and feminine energy. So we have these seemingly opposite forces coming together to create something. And that's how we create something. We cannot just create by hustle. We need to also allow ourselves to receive and to rest and allow ourselves to feel supported. So we need to have a balance between the two.
That is so beautiful. And it's true. in today's world, we often see that everyone is in this constant state of hustle culture, which is utterly exhausting. Speaking as a millennial, I'm perpetually always exhausted because we are caught up so much in that hustle culture, and we never really take the time to understand what rest looks like.
Mm.
And it's such a difficult thing, I think, in today's world to truly comprehend what rest means, because we have been made to feel guilty for it. We've been made to feel like that's not something that we're allowed to achieve, and we're not allowed to understand that. So, and we don't think that that's going to help us get what we desire and help us reach our dreams, which you can't reach your dreams if you're burnt out. It's true.
Exactly.
So, how do we go about choosing the desires that would align with our life purposes?
Hmm. So again, another myth that I'm busting in the book is that we can manifest anything we want. You'll hear teachers say, you can manifest anything you want. And I'm thinking, well, I cannot manifest flying.
I
I
mean,
cannot
that would be
manifest,
great.
yeah, trust me, it would. I cannot manifest like falling upwards because the law of gravity won't allow me. So some things we cannot manifest. And my approach to manifesting is very grounded in the sense that we come here for a purpose. Our soul has intentionality, has contracts and life lessons it came here to learn. Why not manifest the desires that are aligned to that life purpose rather than worry about manifesting ego-based desires?
Mhm,
Because when our desires are aligned to our life purpose, they're going to be way easier to manifest because the whole universe wants us to fulfill our purpose. Versus when we try to manifest desires our soul doesn't want, it's going to be way harder to manifest that, sometimes impossible. So in the book, I teach a process all about finding your life purpose and then choosing desires aligned to that. Now, there are many practices, both practical and more energetic practices to finding our purpose. The process I teach in this book, because I teach other processes in my other books, in this book I teach an energetic process, and I want to teach this quickly right now because people will be able to access it and do it immediately.
mhm,
Is to visualize an energy cord extending from your crown chakra, reaching all the way up and connecting to a crystalline palace. I like people to think about this crystalline palace. And this is basically a symbolic representation of source,
mhm,
the Akashic records, where all our the gods and goddesses, our spirit guides are residing. Olympus, which is a spiritual dimension, essentially. So when we connect to that crystalline palace and we access our Akashic records and allow ourselves to be in meditation, we can allow the energy, the flow of our life purpose and who we truly are to flow and download from the crystalline palace, our Akashic records, therefore, into our own body and infuse our energy field with the energy of our life purpose. And then when we stay into this state, basking in this energy for a while, we can come out of meditation and then do some automatic writing and write down freely, answering the question, what is my life purpose? Focusing on what am I here to do? Who am I here to serve? How am I supposed to do so? Why do I want to do so? And where do I want to follow that purpose? And when we journal around those questions after we connect to the crystalline palace, then we start getting more clear guidance as to what our life purpose is. And then, and I explain that in the book, we choose desires
mhm.
aligned to that.
I love that so much. And it's so beautiful the way that you describe that, because obviously everyone will probably see this differently in their own way, because but if you're new to it and you have not really done a whole lot of meditation work, the visuals that you have just painted are a beautiful representation of a great place to start. So if you're somebody who's more familiar with it, it might look different for you, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine as long as you're reaching whatever form of source looks like for you. So
Yes.
that's just, it's so beautiful the way you paint that picture. I love that so much. So, out of all the seven laws that we've already talked about, which do you think would be the most beneficial and easiest for somebody to use to start manifesting their desires for what they need in their life?
Hmm. Well, the easiest one to start with is the law of mentalism, the first one, teaching that the universe is mental. Everything starts with an intention. And what the ancient Hermetics, and specifically in the Kybalion, there is this really powerful practice. It's called the practice of outpouring your energy into your desire. If you think about how we create things, we sort of obsess with a thought and our
Mhm.
creation. And I like to use the analogy of actors because I'm an actor as well. So with acting, you become the character while you're on stage, but you're not the character. But while you're on stage, you are the character in some way. So it's a co-creation between the two. And how do you reach that state? You spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours thinking like the character, walking like the character, reading like the character's words, and like trying to like make them your own. So you're outpouring energy into that by time, energy, focus, mental thoughts. You obsess about that character to become that character. And then you're on stage and it's effortless. So we need to approach manifestation from this perspective. When we have a purpose and when we choose a desire aligned to that, it's important to focus, to pour energy, to think about it, to uh, pour energy towards by taking action steps, by having conversations about it, by researching about it, by dedicating time and effort towards creating that which we want to create, rather than just doing a simple meditation and expecting the universe to do all the work for us.
I mean, I wish the universe would do all the work for us. That would make life so much simpler, but that's not how that works, unfortunately. The universe is usually here to remind us, hey, you have to pull your weight too if you want to get what you want. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's kind of like the people that are like, oh, well, I did the spell for the job. Why didn't I get it? And it's like, did you apply for the job? And it's like, well,
Yeah.
no. It's like, well, the universe isn't going to give you a job unless you apply for said job and actually go
Yes.
through it. So that's kind of how that works. You have to do the work for yourself as well, in addition to also connecting with divine. So now, as humans, we are predispositioned to sometimes let the negative thoughts run rampant. So, how do you really work with negative thoughts and trying to reach those manifestation goals when sometimes the negative thoughts are way louder than the desires that we really want?
Mm. By accepting the negative thoughts and by embracing them and not running away from them. I'm really against toxic positivity and spiritual bypassing, which
Mhm.
again, it's something that's so rampant within the manifestation culture. It's all about positive thinking, positive thinking. Don't go into the negative. But I'm like, if a negative thought or emotion shows up, it's already manifested. It's part of your being. If you
Mhm.
try to run away from it or ignore it or try to think about something else, you're just ignoring it. It's going to grow. It's going to grow in power and eventually it's going to poison your whole being energetically. So it's really important to face our negative thoughts and desires, and that not desires, sorry, to embrace our negative thoughts and emotions. Otherwise, they're really going to block our manifestation. And the way that I teach that in the book is by transmuting them through energetic transmutation and also cognitive transmutation. We need to do both.
Mhm.
With cognitive transmutation, it's about I teach a process, an eye movement process of dealing and healing and changing, transforming essentially negative beliefs and negative emotions. It's called integral eye movement therapy, and it draws from trauma therapy and EMDR.
Mhm.
And when it comes to energetic um, processing of negative emotions, I teach a process of connecting to the oversoul of our different emotions. For example, if you're feeling depression right now and you want to feel joy, you need to walk up the emotional scale. It's very difficult to jump from depression to joy. You need to go through the steps. So a good next step could be hope, for example. And there is this collective frequency of hope, like uh, wandering around in the universe. And we can reach out an energy cord again from the sacral chakra, for example, or from the heart chakra, and go all the way up to the essence of that oversoul of hope, connect to it, and allow ourselves to receive energy from that vibrational frequency. And then, in no less than like 2-3 minutes, no more than 2 or 3 minutes, we'll start feeling that emotion. And then we can move up the emotional scale by cutting the cord and reconnecting to another emotion. And this way, energetically, we can essentially take ourselves to this journey of improving our emotions and transmuting our negative feelings and thoughts.
I love that, and it kind of brings it back to what you were saying about the stick with the 2 wins and the pools, obviously. You can't just kind of be like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna skip all the way across from, like, point A to point B." That doesn't work, and it wouldn't work because that would be like try to do, like, time travel in a world where time travel doesn't exist yet, and we
Yeah.
can't do that.
Yes.
So, we have to work our way through there and go through the whole journey of building
Mm.
ourselves back up. So, I understand that, and that's a beautiful way to think about that, especially to start to try to work through the energetic process in addition to the physical process. Now, obviously, thus saying, that is not a replacement for going to, like, therapy if you need it. Please do so if you need so, but it is a great tool in addition to. So make sure you remember that as we go forward. Now, obviously, when it comes to also working through those kind of things, we also have limited beliefs. And how do we go about releasing those fears that we're just never going to reach our desires? Does that kind of fall back into that negative mindset that we were just talking about?
Yes, yeah, it's the same process. So the eye movement process I teach in the book has to do with, firstly, dealing with negative emotions, and secondly, dealing with negative thoughts. But a really practical process that I can teach right now has to do with getting to the root cause of a negative belief, a limiting belief, the core limiting belief behind that. I like to think of limiting beliefs as existing in layers.
Mhm,
So a limiting belief could be, I'm not good enough. And when you dig down, dig deep into that, the core limiting belief could be, I'm not a good person, for example. So
mhm,
I teach a process in the book I call the 5 whys, where you ask yourself, why do I think that 5 times? And it's been proven kind of that when you ask 5 times why, you can get to the root cause. Sometimes it takes more, sometimes it takes less. But overall, like rule of thumb, 5 times. So for example, why do I feel like I'm not good enough? Because I feel like I'm not good at that thing, for example. And why do I think that? And then why that? And then why that? And then in 5 times, we find the root cause,
mhm.
the core limiting belief. And then we can work on releasing that core limiting belief, because that one created all the other ones. So rather than just focusing on that superficial one, the surface level one, we can go straight to the root. And that's why we can transmute those limiting beliefs that are blocking our manifestations so that we can manifest. So just to give people some context, I teach in the book a 5-step process. The first step is raise your vibration. Second step is clarify your desires. Third step, release your limiting beliefs. Fourth step, nurture the energy of your desires. And then fifth step, take inspired action. So this is step number 3. After you've raised your vibration, picked your desires, then before you start actively manifesting, you release those limiting beliefs. And then you start the process of manifestation.
I love that. And, that's also rooted very much in therapy for a lot of people as well. So, if you've been to therapy or you have even studied the aspects of psychology and all that, asking yourself why over and over and over again until you get to that root cause, and then breaking down that root cause is truly a lot how you do trauma work and breaking through what causes all of that trauma and makes you think that you're this horrible, awful person. Well, typically,
Yes.
some kind of traumatic thing happened to make you believe that,
Yes.
and it causes all these spiraling energies and emotions that come out of it, and it just wreaks so much havoc, and it's
Yes.
very frustrating.
You really got exactly where I was coming from, because I am a trauma specialist
Mhm,
and I also have a master's in psychology. So I
mhm.
come from this background and I wanted to bring those tools into energy work and into like new age work, because it's so important to combine both and not just be one sided when it comes to manifestation. To do the cognitive work, the somatic work, the energy work, it's all important.
Well, the truth is, even though we like to think ourselves as these physical, energetic, these physical and mental beings, there's still that huge aspect of energy that flows through us. Every part of us, all the way down to our cellular makeup, is energy. And so when we start to really think about that, you can't negate the energy work out of psychology. You really can't. You can
Yeah, yeah,
try, but it's not going to
yeah,
work.
yes, yes.
And so we
Because
really need that.
yes, I mean, when we cry and when we express the emotions, we are releasing energy. So energy is part of it.
Yes, and that's just oh, I could go on and on and on about the psychology and science and the spirituality aspect. It's one of like my hyper focuses. I love that so much. But how do we take the energy fields of, say, our auras and our chakras, and how do we help those into our manifestation process? Because for a lot of people, also auras and chakras are kind of confusing. So could you also talk a little bit about that to help maybe some of our newer listeners comprehend that a little easier?
Of course. So that's step number 4 of my process, working with the energy field to nurture the energy of your desires. So basic energetics here, the chakras, they are energy centers in the body. And I remember when I wrote Secrets of Greek Mysticism, and I included meditations with chakras, I got so much backlash from traditionally saying, oh, you're talking about chakras, and chakras are not ancient Greek. They are an appropriation of like Hindu culture. And I'm like, actually, they're also ancient Greek because I've read in ancient texts in philosophical schools, in Orphism, for example, mention of energy centers in the body, specifically 7 energy centers and 7 layers of the aura. They just didn't call them chakras. They had different names for them.
Hmm.
So, but I refer to them as chakras because that's what people understand easier.
Hmm.
So we have these certain energy centers in the body that connect the physical body, the emotional body, the energetic body, the spiritual body. And we have 7 layers of our aura that extends outside of our physical body, this energy field that corresponds to the 7 chakras, the energy centers in the body. What I teach in the book is calling upon the energy orb of our desires, because each
Hmm.
desire is an entity, has a being, it's a being of its own. So calling upon that orb of light that is our desire and then planting that within our energy field. Because that desire is intelligent, it has energy, it's a living being. And we can invite it into our energy field to plant itself into our energy field so we can have a relationship with it energetically and then reach out energy cords from that desire out into the universe and connect with people, with companies, organizations, with spirit guides, different entities essentially that can help its manifestation. So right now, whenever I'm manifesting something, the first thing I do is starting with energy-based manifestation, planting that desire in my energy field and sending out signals, sending out cords that reach out and find the right people for that product or service, etc., whatever it is I'm creating, and
Hmm.
drawing them, magnetizing them into my own life.
I love that. And that is such a beautiful thing, especially when we come to all of the different things that we're trying to manifest in our lives, that we have all of these different ways that we should be trying to do this in our daily lives. But the going back to hustle culture has taught us that, oh, don't do that. Don't take time. Just, get to it. And, you will be just fine the harder you work. And it's like, well, yes, but also no. So
Yes.
we have to do both. Now, obviously, as we were talking a little bit about this hustle culture and, the action and doing the work and finding the time to do the energy work as well. How do we find the balance between those, between taking the action, manifesting our desires, letting the universe take flight in us and actually do some of that work? How do we know where all of the lines go and how much we
Yeah.
need to do and how much the universe is supposed to do and how much we're supposed to let the universe do, because
Yes.
we're humans and we want to just take the reins and run off with them, and the universe is like, hold up, that was mine. That one was mine.
Yeah. Because manifestation is universal collaboration. We have to collaborate with the universe, not overly depend on the universe like most people do, but really
Hmm.
collaborate. So, step number 5 of my process is take inspired action that has to do with balancing masculine and feminine energy. Now, spiritual people are all about doing meditations, and I'm going to do a meditation to balance my masculine and feminine energy, and then poof, I'm balanced. And I'm like, no, you're not. You have to do that, you have to find that balance in your day-to-day life.
Hmm.
I'm a very practical person. I also come from a business background. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, let's bring in some business tools into manifestation because they are important. So to balance essentially taking action and allowing ourselves to feel supported, I like to plan my year, my month, my quarters, my weeks, my days. And what I guide people to do in the book is get a wall calendar for the entire year and spend like a day planning the entire year in advance. Now, this sounds very overwhelming if you're not a planner, but you don't need to plan everything. Just plan, you focus on planning masculine energy activities and then feminine energy activities. If you know what your desire is, like, okay, I want to launch a new course. I need to launch it sometime, right, in the year. So what month is best? You do the thinking in advance. Okay, I'm going to launch it in March, new beginnings, aligns perfect with this launch of a course. Okay, then what do I need to do to get to the course? I need to create the course, come up with ideas, create the content, film the content. So you need to schedule that. You need to know when you're going to do that. But if you know you're going to have big chunks of work in this part of the year, why not schedule a vacation afterwards? Why not schedule some time off in between to create some balance of masculine and feminine energy? That's what I mean. And then when you have your master plan of the year with your main launches, for example, the main things are tasks surrounding your desires, then you refer to that every single month. Okay, what do I have coming up this month? How do I plan my month? And then every Sunday, how do I plan my week, my upcoming week based on that monthly plan? How do I plan my day? And ensuring that there are an equal amount of masculine energy activities and feminine energy activities in the year plan, monthly plan, week plan, and day plan.
That is beautiful. And as somebody who is also a collective pantser, who typically goes by the seat of my pants, it's one of those things that I love those ideas and I have started to actually implement them in the last couple of years, but I've had to do it in such a way that obviously, I guess my more feminine energy would be making sure that I have time for myself to allow time for healing because I'm chronically ill. So I have to have that in my schedule as well. And rest is a good thing, just for the record. It is necessary. I think we actually mentioned that at the beginning of the podcast, but it is a necessary
Yes.
thing. And if
Rest
we're,
is productive, actually. It's very productive
yes,
because you receive ideas.
yes. And it also allows you, the cool thing about rest is too, you can connect with the divine while you're resting.
Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
something that is something so easy, especially if you're somebody that's like, oh, I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to do my ritual work. I don't have time to do this. It's like, okay, but you're sitting down watching 3 hours of TV at night. Make it
Yeah.
2 and just chill with your deities for an hour and talk to them or talk to whoever you talk to, whatever, form of source or whatever that you like to talk to, and allow yourself that opportunity to do that. And as somebody who has also started really making the time to do that, because again, I was a pantser and I didn't always take the time to do that. I know, bad me as a pagan, but hey, it's okay because I needed the opportunity to allow myself to learn what felt right and what worked within me, which is also a really great thing as somebody who's trying to manifest your goals and your dreams. You have to know what feels right and what doesn't.
Mm.
So just wonderful energy all around with that. So obviously we have talked about this beautiful book that you have, and you have so many great classes and so many great works coming up and so many things that you're doing. What's next on your horizon? What books do you have planned? What projects? What classes? Spill the tea.
I like that you're taking for granted that I'm writing another book because you know how masochistic I am. Yes, I am
I
working
know
on
how
a
many
new book.
books you like to write because they're beautiful and you're an amazing author. And if you suddenly decided I wasn't going to write any more books, I'd be sad. So, okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I am writing a new book as we speak. So I'm writing a new book right now. It's got to do with energy. It's got to do with ancient Greece again. I think I found my specialty,
Mhm.
energy and ancient teachings. So it's gonna be more of that, and I'm really excited about it.
I am so excited for that too because you're obviously this book and then obviously your book about ancient Greek mysticism was
Yes,
phenomenal. I love that book so much. It is one of my favorites. It sits
thank you.
actually on my like favorite collective books of witchcraft shelf in my hallway, which I have a very large shelf of that because I have a lot of
Oh,
favorite authors, but that is one
thank
of my
you.
favorites. And so obviously anyone who hasn't read the book, please go pick up a copy. If you can't, check out your local library. Also, same with this one. which is the Ancient Manifestation Secrets. Ask your local library about it. Make sure that they have it as well. Even if you don't need a copy, still ask them and they will get a copy. So what classes do you have coming up that people could possibly take from you? Because I know you offer a lot of beautiful classes.
Yes, well, I'm launching soon, this month, actually, end of this month, the Energy Work membership. It's the first time I'm actually talking about it, which is going to be my membership where we'll be doing energy work. And every month it's going to be a different workshop. So every month I teach a new workshop. The next one I have coming up is called Journey to Ancient Greece, which is
Oh,
basically a past
beautiful.
life regression to go back to experience our ancient Greek lives, which I'm so excited about.
Oh, that's going to be so exciting.
Yeah.
So that's going to be offered through your website, correct?
Yes, exactly. GeorgeLizos.com. That's where you can find everything. And where I live, George Lizos on Instagram.
Yes. So, everyone who is listening, George, obviously, you're always welcome back on the show. I love having you here. It is always such a wonderful pleasure having you here. And when your next book comes out, you're just going to have to come back. We're going to have to talk about it.
Oh, thank you so much, Pagan. I really appreciate you and all the support. Thank you.
Yes, of course. But everyone, make sure you pick up a copy of George's books. They're all wonderful. They are beautifully written. If you are a fan of audiobooks, he reads his audiobooks, so you get to listen to
Mm.
his stunning voice as well while you listen to them. And you also get to have all of those wonderful tidbits happen in those books because I have the audiobooks. I listen to them. I love them. They're wonderful. And especially if you are somebody who likes to read along and get yourself a physical copy to go with it. So, but if you can't afford a copy, because I know that times are tough for a lot of people, please go check out your local library. If they don't have a copy, you can request one. They'll either get it from another library or they will order a copy to keep for themselves. And that helps your authors, that helps your local library. So make sure you are doing that as well. And always take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, be kind to yourselves as well. And I will see you all next time for another interview. Bye bye, everyone.